The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
There was one couple on that fateful morning. They have a 3.5-year-old. Not only do they have a child, 3.5 years old, they have also a very interesting incident that went on because the child is a twin. They had both twins in the room. They ran to the safe room, they locked the door, and can imagine the feelings that went through them at that point, whether they would be able to escape, whether they would be able to survive, or exactly what would happen. Within minutes they realized the worst had happened. Whatever their fears were, the terrorists, Yamach Shemam V'Zichram La'o Meyad, had entered their house. They were there. The father went and held the door, held the knob of the safe room door. He was going to hold that door no matter what. They came and they tried to get in, they couldn't. So they decided that they would set the whole house on fire and thereby wipe out the family, whoever was inside the safe room. The fire began to intensify and the smoke began filling up the room. The family had to make a choice. What should they do? Should they try to exit? Should they try to get out? Or should they stay in the room? They had no choice. They had to leave. But the handle had broken off the door. They couldn't get out. They then decided the only way that they were going to be free was to go out the window to climb out. They went out the window quietly, as quiet as they could be. The terrorists had moved a little bit further away from the home. Their weapons, though, were drawn. They were looking. They would shoot anything in sight. No questions. The parents understood it could be their last moments because the terrorists were in their sight, meaning that they were in the sight of the terrorists. Remarkably, they noticed a pail of water. They never left the water. It wasn't their pail. They didn't understand where it came from. They took clothing, the smoke was coming, and they put the clothing into the water so it would be damp and they would be able to breathe into the clothing. They gave it to the two twins, and the two twins were able to breathe. Even more extraordinary that they were able to go out and they were not yet noticed by the terrorists were that the two children, both 3.5, did not make a sound. They didn't cry. They didn't yell. They didn't do anything. They were quiet. Hashem Yisparach makes many nisim v'niflos in this world. V'al nisecha shebechol yom imonu. V'al nifloisecha shebechol eis erev avoiker. We are surrounded by miracles. We are constantly experiencing nisim. We don't know about it. If we only knew about it, we would thank Hashem at every moment, but we don't know. It's not revealed to us. Hanistaros Hashem Elokeinu. Those hidden things only Hashem knows. We're not privy to it. They didn't know what to do. They did see the tremendous Yad Hashem, the fact that they were now outside and that no one has yet seen that they're there. Nobody disturbed them. They could hear the shooting all around. They were afraid to remain exactly where they were near the house. So they noticed that there was a huge pile, and that pile had wood. They went, ran, unnoticed, to the wood pile, and they all hid there, inside. They were afraid, for sure, that the end was near. Now, the terrorists began to surround, walking around, looking for anyone or anything that they may capture or kill. The man had texted his mother, and he said the end was near. He said goodbye to his mama. The mother texted back when she saw what happened and she began to understand it. His two sisters, the two sisters had already accepted upon themselves to watch the Shabbat, to be careful. They understood that they have to watch their match, and they took upon themselves, in his schus, in the schus of the family, the young family, that they should live. They took on Shabbos. 13 hours. It seemed like Netzach Netzochim. It seemed like eternity. This young family hid there. The mother heard the voices of the people that were approaching at the end of the 13 hours. She said, I hear that there are people coming. She texted, our path is ended. I thank you for a lifetime, for everything. However, when the people came closer and they began to talk in Ivrit, in Hebrew, she realized they were members of the IDF, Tzva Haganah Yisrael. She was so grateful. They rescued her and her family from the depths of Gehenna, from the gates on Loves. They were led to safety. And as they were led to safety, the father of the family started to cry out, Hashem, I want to do teshuvah, teshuvah shlema, ani rotze lachzor. I want to come back to you, Hashem. Interesting. It says in Talmud Bavli, Ilmole Shomru Yisrael Shabbos Rishona. If Klal Yisrael would only observe the Shabbos, Lo Shulto Bohen Uma V'Lashon, there would be no nation in this world that would be matzliach, that would be successful in rising over us. This story is an amazing story. In the future, I am sure there's going to be a sefer that will include all the nisim and niflos. I had spoken to one of the parents. There is a whole group for parents of Israeli soldiers, for parents of the hostages. And I spoke to one of the members of this group. They had told me the difference that it made for their son, the soldier. And they told me the difference it made for them, how they're makabel, how they've accepted upon themselves things that they have never done up until now. It is as the Mishnah says, and it's for you and I. Every Kabbalah that we make, and we have them in mind, we have the soldiers in mind, the hostages in mind, it is a shmira for them. It is a chizuk for them. We should know that we can be mezakeh others with our mitzvos. Have them in mind. When we say the bracha in the morning, Matir Asurim, Hashem releases those that are Asurim, captives. Have them in mind. When we say, Moitzi Asirim Upadeh Novim, that Hashem Yisbarach takes out those that are held in captivity, Upadeh Novim, and redeems those that are humble. Who are more humble than those hostages? May we soon be able to make the bracha, Matir Asurim, together with all of the hostages released, returned home in good health, in happiness, in peace and security, and every soldier of the Tzva Haganah Yisrael back home, safe and sound, victorious in their mission. May we all hear Besuros Tovos B'Karov B'Karov.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org